Once again, good morning, good evening to everyone, whoever is in whichever time zone here. And I know this is a global platform, and we are expecting attendees from all over the world. So, first of all, my many thanks and big congratulations to United Conferences for putting this amazing forum in place, and particularly Crystal, who has been very instrumental in reaching out to all of us and coordinating all the logistics. So, thank you, United Conferences. This is an amazing platform, and we definitely look forward to many more like this. It is a very interesting forum, particularly because I know there are a lot of parallel, seminars going on, and this one really caught my attention because it said women leaders in pharma. It so happened when I actually tried circulating and sharing these details about the seminar in my community. My wonderful female colleagues were very excited, and I'm sure some of them have also joined this forum today. And what came out was a very interesting aspect or a thought. One of my friend came to me saying, "We wish there would be a day where we will not have to mention women leaders as a term." And that exactly is my point here. I told her that precisely is the reason we need such forums. We come out, be vocal, share our thoughts with other wonderful female colleagues, uplift each other, and we bring everyone to a platform where the word women leaders becomes so inevitable that the women in the women leader terms becomes obvious, and we just talk of leaders then. So I think that with on that note, I welcome you all, and what I wish to do as part of my session today is walk you through my entrepreneurial journey and how I feel I have found my niche, and if that in any ways inspires or contributes to your thoughts and processes, my session would be a success today. So before getting started, I thought it might be a good idea to introduce myself first, and so that you know what background I come with and where am I talking, and the session relates more to you. I am a medical writer by passion and profession, if I have to put myself in one line. I have my qualification in pharmacology and had over a decade and a half of active experience in the field of clinical research and medical writing. Eventually, I went ahead and have my own entrepreneurial debut, which we call MeWriT Healthcare Consulting, and we are based at Ahmedabad, India. Through the journey, there were some accolades and credits also received, which are always good to have and kind of gives you a boost about your, processes or the activities that you are doing. So that's how I come from. And as part of today's session about the entrepreneurial journey, my intention was to share my journey with you and take you through how I began my debut, and what worked for me, what did not work, and if that helps you to figure out something for yourself. To begin with, my journey into medical writing and the present venture that I have, I would say, started almost 2 decades back, when even I did not realize subconsciously it has started. So, looking back retrospectively, I feel when I was doing my honors in pharmacy or my PhD scholarship, that was the time where I subconsciously started writing in science, not realizing someday this would become, a full-fledged career for me. So by the time I was doing all the academic scholarships, it so happened that I had an amazing opportunity to have exposure to various clinical trial, corporate houses, clinics, and multifaceted pharma companies, which gave me an amazing experience in the hardcore industry area of clinical research and medical writing. By the time I had my formal degrees in hand, I also came out with almost more than 40 publications to my credit in various scientific journals and congresses. And so, I mean, little did I realize this is going to be a full-time work for me, which I'm going to enjoy every day. And that's the beauty of doing what I am doing right now. I moved, very flawlessly into industry where I gained a lot of experience from the MNCs in multifaceted areas like people management, clinical operation, and also continued my writing bit. And that's perhaps where I realized that writing is my calling, my passion, and probably there's a scope of taking it up as a full-time career. And I think that eventually it has become my niche. So that is the time I realized, that okay, this has been my calling, and I moved on to become an independent consultant, starting very, I would say, very mildly, yet very concretely on my plan to get into independent medical writing work. And I think over 5 7 years I continued to gather more experience, more grassroots level skills, moving on to then formalizing and registering my own firm, which we now call MeWriT. The idea to give you this story was the entrepreneurial debut that I present today here, which is MeWriT. We are a medical writing and training agency, has actually come a way back from almost a decade and a half. And I think that's how all businesses or all entrepreneurships come, not from a moment we do not realize where it has really begun. Considering my flair and love for writing, that is how we have actually framed the name here also. So MeWriT actually is an acronym, and it means merit in medical writing and training. And we're kind of clubbed what we do into our brand name itself. Again, the slide here is to show you that we started at a very limited scope of work, which is on the left of your screen, just regulatory documentation, which was and is still our niche. But we expanded then into scientific publications, communications, and over last 2 to 3 years, in fact, training has become our new niche, and we are also developing into it. So I wanted to, interweave this story of mine into the session today, which is like embarking on your own journey, finding your niche. Now, before we do that, I very strongly feel every female women out here today on the session would agree that we have some inbuilt salient features, I would say, about the feminine species in nature, which makes us a good entrepreneur by itself, like a very strong one. We girls are born multitaskers. We are so used to do multiple things very efficiently at the same time that seldom we do not want to do just one thing. So I think that's an important trait which you should explore and expand within yourself, because as an entrepreneur you would really need to do that more than often. Another very strong aspect I feel about women is perseverance. We are like the go getters. We do not really, give up hope, give up effort till the last moment. So I think that's very important when you want to embark on your own journey, because you will have to keep yourself motivated. You will have to keep pushing yourself to what you want to achieve. And sometimes you might just be alone in doing that. And that's where this perseverance really comes to your help. So count on it when you want to embark on your journey. Women in general, I think everyone agrees we are a resilient species. We bounce back on our feet very, quickly, I would say, when we are pushed back. So there are a lot of pushbacks when you are on your own, when you are doing stuff by yourself. So those pushbacks, those coming back, with all the more force is equally important, while concentrating on what you wish to do. So yes, you will have to stay agile and be resilient about everything around you. My first slide, if you remember, it said, my quite a few times we get this feedback that we are bossing around. Well taken. Like commanding is something which comes naturally to females, and I think we should really count on us when we want to explore our leadership qualities, our entrepreneurial qualities out there. So being in command, directing things is equally important when you are running your own venture. So yes, that's another trait I think females can count on for their entrepreneurial debut. Another very important one I personally like is I for perfection, or I would say strive for perfection. So that also comes very naturally to us, because we as females are so used to be, sticklers and ensuring things are done the right way till the end. Most of the time, our female resources are, counted for this. So I think that's a wonderful trait that we bring to the table, and is again something that, deeply impacts the way you work on your own journey. And last but not the least, the one that we are known for, universally, is compassion. And I think more than often, compassion is spoken about along with leadership nowadays. So it's important, and that comes naturally to us. So taken together, I think women in all, though half the population, all the brains, we do make up a great entrepreneur material. And I think each one of us would have something unique like this, or many more rather, features like this, which helps us, our personality, to be molded into entrepreneurs. So don't restrict yourself. You can always, just think about this in your perspective and take it forward. Now, when you do that, and most of the time, when quite a few of us would want to do it, what happens is we are stuck with a lot of fears, lot of hesitation, and lot of doubts. So, whenever you think of beginning your own venture or your own entrepreneurial journey, the first question that you have to answer yourself is, how do I get started? What is in it for me? Would I be able to do it? How do I do it? What should I take up to offer? So these are the questions I think everyone, any new or small business owner or a consultant or a freelancer, answers when they are, embarking on their journey. Before doing that, let's understand what we mean when we say finding your niche. What is the niche all about? Literally, I mean, all of us may agree that niche is some area which is, very specialized to anything. Yes, it exactly translates the same way for business as well. Now, that would mean at a specialized or a focused area from a broader market that you want to target through your products, through your services. So basically, niche is about defining what your product or services you are wanting to take ahead as your entrepreneurial journey. Why is it important to answer this question right at the beginning? Perhaps this is the first hurdle or the first question everyone comes across when they want to, break the ceiling or the glass ceiling of the profits or the energy that they have reached, and, looking for something beyond. So why is it important? It is because when you answer this question, you will be able to identify your USP, your unique selling proportion, or your unique selling point, which makes your product or your services unique, stand out in the broader market. And that is the reason it's important to identify what's, your USP out there. Only once that is done, probably you will be able to specialize your business, focus your business on particular things, and position your personal brand. So that is the reason I think first question that all of us will need to answer is, what is your niche, or how you go about finding it. Now, in the process of doing that, honestly, there is no one way of doing it. There is no set steps or an SOP which someone would give you, that this is how you can go around, finding your niche. So, what I have done here for you today is I have listed down five points which I felt the way I have proceeded through my journey. And if that helps you as pointers to, take forward yours. So I feel finding your own niche is a very unique journey that each one of us has to do by yourself. You cannot copy paste someone else's thoughts or someone else's way of doing it to yourself. So make sure that you travel your own unique path individually. How do you go about doing it? So, five simple steps. First and foremost, as an individual professional, you identify what are your passion, your interest. I would like to focus this discussion more on the professional front. So, yeah, when I say passion, your interest is about your professional growth, about your professional work. So, identify your passion, your interest, then go ahead and review your strengths. That's where you determine the profitability. Of course, know your competition and then stay focused. In all, the idea of finding your niche is to making your unique self shine. You have to keep that in focus. Let's look at each one of this individually and see how you can go around these points. So, identifying your passion and interest. All you can do is take a pen and a paper and sit down and write what are your passions at work? What do you enjoy doing the most, or what comes easily to you? What are the skills and talents that you have or have you already acquired? And do you wish to do something all day? I mean, things that you really love to do are is your first list to start with. That is your passion and your interest. You will not have one, obviously. You will have more than one options or bullet points out here when you list them out, and then that's absolutely fine. Now that's the purpose of doing this exercises of identifying your passion and interest. So you might be passionate about writing, you might be passionate about dancing, you might be passionate about taking care of pets for that reason. So these are n number of passions or interests or skills that you can list down. Now, from here on, what we should do is we should review our strengths. Now, let me tell you one thing. Most entrepreneurs get their ideas by the experience working in on it, or working in the field or in the industry. So that is very important. It might so happen that you are very passionate about writing, but you do not have a natural flair to writing or understanding language, or the ability to read for a longer period of time. Probably that may not be your niche. It might not suit you for your entrepreneurial debut. You might be great as a dancer, but you might not be able to translate or teach someone else or choreograph for that reason. Then it does not turn into your entrepreneurial niche. So it's important to map your passions, your interest against the strength that you have. Now, these strengths can be inherent skills or expertise or talent, or you could have gained it by experience. Now, in my experience, I would suggest that these strengths definitely come from your, work experience in the industry. Quite often I get this feedback about, we also have, for example, we have good publication credentials at our end. We are PhD scholars. Why can't we start our own entrepreneurial debut? Can we follow your path? How did you come so far? These are the questions I get quite often. And every time my answer is simple. I tell the same thing again and again, and I would like to share that today as well. It is important to do the grassroots level work, expose yourself to the industry work, or expose yourself to the what are the norms in your field of work. Do grassroots level work, get your hands dirty. That will give you the right vision to the kind of niche or area you want to develop in, and that's very important. You might be a good writer. You can just start off your venture right after your PhD or a graduation, for instance. Would you be enough informed about the industry that you are working in? Would you know who are your customers? Would you know how things are done at work or in the industry? So that kind of exposure is definitely important before you start, and that exposure is what forms your strength here. So it's important to understand where your experience and expertise is coming from. Once you have that, you can also try to take advice or help from other colleagues, like why are they coming to you, what do they feel you are good at. That kind of input can also help you analyze your strengths against your passion and interest. So the idea of this particular exercise at this point would be to see if you have the required skills and experience to take your passion or interest ahead, right? So the first step is you identify your passions, make sure you have the right strengths, expertise, and experience to take it forward. If you are sorted at these two steps, probably that is when you should go to the next and the very important step for identifying your niche. Now you have a passion and idea and interest, and it also you also have the kind of expertise or strength to do it. The most important question that you would want to answer is it profitable enough? You know, recognizing the potential of revenue that your idea can generate is important, equally important when it comes to business. Because if you may have a fantastic idea, you may have all the strengths and talents to do it, but if you do not have a market, if you do not have an audience to buy it, if you do not have someone who needs the solution you are offering, probably it's not a good entrepreneurial idea. So that will not bring you profit. And at the end of the day, in business, what matters is what you are going to earn out of it, right? So that this is a stage where you will determine the profitability of your idea, validate your idea, identify what value you bring to the table, be it your product or your services. How unique is it? Will people buy your solution? What are you offering them? What are the problems that you're focusing? Who is your customer? Who is your audience? So this kind of exercise will need you to test the waters, like within your community, within your industry, within your colleagues. There are multiple ways of doing it. There's no one single solution to it, but you will have to determine whether your idea, whether your strength, whether your passion that you want to build on, is it sellable. So that sellable, word is very important out here, and so is the profitability. Now once your passion, your interest has passed on the test for having all the strengths and being profitable enough, that's when you will move to the next one to see whether you know your competition enough. Now, besides finding the proof that your target audience exists, you know them well, you have a market to, target, your product, your services have a USP to stand for. It is also important to know what and who are your competitors. So let me not scare you. The presence of competition in itself is a good thing because it means you have picked up a niche which is in demand and is profitable. So you're working in a market which is going to definitely survive the strong, right? Now, this is the space or this is the level wherein you will want to analyze your competitors. This will help you identify the market that you are targeting. What are they lacking? What are you offering different? Where is the gap that your product or your services can bridge in? So that gap has to be identified because that would be your focus or area of interest. Once that is done, you have to see how you are differentiating yourself. So again, repetitively, I would want to say you have to focus on your USP, your unique selling point, which would differentiate you from others. And that's how you would be kind of encountering the competition in the market. So differentiate yourself, identify the gap, and once that is done, you should be specializing your business in a way, positioning your brand in a way which would mean that you have that unique space for yourself versus your competitors. And again, so the focus is let your unique self shine, let the uniqueness in your idea, in your strengths stay and make it more profitable, right? So those are the 4 points: your passions and your interest, followed by your strengths. Ensure that the idea or the thought is profitable, and that's where you can check for the competition, try out, test the waters, make sure you have a market to sell or establish yourself in. And then that from that point onwards, it is forever, I would say. So you go, stay focused on your idea, your niche that you have identified, build on your niche, embark on your entrepreneurial journey, which would mean that there are multiple ways of setting up new businesses, and I think that can take altogether another session for it. But the idea is that you, by this exercise, you would have maybe one or two niches identified, and you can just focus on them as part of your entrepreneurial journey. Once that is done, considering the current times, I think staying adaptive, staying innovative is very important. So within the niche that you are following, it is important that you keep your personal brand evolving. Like the way I said, when we started off as individual independent consultants, we used to just focus on a very small part, which was just regulatory writing. and we evolved over time, we stayed adaptive, and now we have the entire gamut of writing being offered under MeWriT. More so happened that we have also developed a new niche for ourselves, which is training in medical writing. So that was one example I wanted to quote to say that although if it sounds very committing to your niche, you always have the freedom to change, readjust, rediscover, and expand. So rethinking your niche is absolutely normal and natural. That does not mean we keep thinking on our niche every fortnight or every quarter. That's not the idea. Definitely, after a few years in business or maybe a decade or so, you may be evolving as a professional, as an entrepreneur as well, and you might have new ideas and new niches being developed. So, stay adaptive, stay innovative. It is not necessary that you stick around to the same thing forever. So no niche is forever, but it is very important to get started. Okay, so to just summarize, if and when, if you want to move from being an individual contributor in your roles at a company or just being a consultant or being a part-time or a full-time employee, and then you're thinking of embarking on your entrepreneurial journey, this is the circle I have made out of my own experience and something that I strongly recommend. So, in especially in our field of pharma, it's important that you have your domain knowledge and skills very clear. Now that partly comes from your educational trainings and other exposures at work, but that's an important aspect. And then club it with a good hands-on experience. So as I said, get your hands dirty. Just superficially rising up the ladder may help you to go up, but sustaining might be a question. So have your base clear, have your base attached, be very transparent, I would say, or very thorough about what work you want to do or what you're offering as services. So your domain knowledge and your hands-on experience is something that will help you get started. Need not necessarily that you stick around and keep doing the same thing as part of your entrepreneurial venture. Of course, you would go grow as a person, as an organization, but having that grassroots level expertise or that grassroots level information definitely helps you to develop your own organization much better. So do that first two circles, and then it is all about going round and round this chart, I would say. And it is an interdependent one. So the more experience, the more exposure you have to the industry, obviously your network and clientele will also grow accordingly. Most of the time, it also depends on the kind of business you are. So some B2B businesses want you to be in person, discussing things at various forums. Quite a few times the networking works online. We have seen the pandemic as a classic example of everything going virtual. So it's no one solution, but the key is networking and clientele. And as you grow as an organization, obviously people management and team building will also come very obviously, and you have to keep that in mind, develop that kind of skills also. Business acumen, in my opinion, yeah, there are a lot of management gurus and management theories available to help you out with that. But the best that you earn is through your own experience. So keep doing the rounds. The more you learn, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more you learn. So it keeps happening in this circle of entrepreneurship, and your journey will continue. And the circumference of your entrepreneurial debut would only keep expanding with more niches as you grow. The only key to remember is the riches are in the niches. So be very particular when you choose your niche and embark on your journey. On that thought, I would really like to thank you all for your attention and this wonderful forum. And as I mentioned when we started together, let the tribe grow. I'm here to, support and stay in touch with anyone who needs it. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions now. Thank you, Razan. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Hetal. It's very nice presentation and it's very rich with information that very helpful to all of us, especially starters in their careers. So it's very, very appreciated. So now we have a lot of feedbacks that are very happy for the presentation and thanking you for the nice presentation and information. Till now, we don't have any question, but I have prepared some because you are very experienced. So for sure, we would like to
Sure.
gain more from your
Before you,
experience.
before you go ahead, Razan, I just wanted to thank the audience once again. And there are two links which I have posted in the chat box. If you guys can just be kind enough to share your comment or feedback or your contact details to stay in touch with us.
Thank you for sharing them with us. We have a question from Dr. Gail Trelko. She's asking, what year did you begin your business?
Okay, Gail, I think I would want to say it was almost 2012. That's where I started on being an independent, medical writer, being a consultant, and then just grew over it.
And another question, are you partnering with any US companies?
Yes, we work across the globe. So we are a very niche, and I love saying this. We're a very niche company that offers specifically medical writing and training services. We collaborate with all pharma, device, and clinical research organizations across the globe, including US, Europe, and Asia.
We are very happy to hear that Dr. Gail said that she will be in contact with you. So we are very happy that here in United Pharma, we are able to make collaborations between people, giving them the opportunity to connect. So we are very happy for that. And we have another question, like first, thank you very much for the great session. How to start with the niche validation? I have been into medical communications and I have moved mostly to digitalization, where I help pharmaceuticals and healthcare plan to execute their digital strategies.
So I think you have already identified your niche and you are already a step ahead. What you got to do is develop your USP and how you stand out against the other service providers in medcoms, for example. And that is what would be your niche. Now, how you do it, honestly, is a question you will only be able to answer. But the idea is to bring that uniqueness in your services, in your product that you are kind of offering.
Yeah, totally understood. Thanks for answering. Also, we have another question, like, would you recommend to take medical writing course for budding writers?
Yes, sure. I think when we started off, medical writing was not even an official term, honestly. And now it is a full-fledged industry in itself. And there are so many training courses, certifications, as well as discrete workshops available. So yes, if you wish, you should definitely take few of them. At least they expose you to the industry jargon, I would say the technical jargon. So it's easier for you to get on board. Yes, you should definitely take them.
Okay. I have also one question. You have been talking a lot about industry, but the academia is not there. So do you think that academia is not that the best place to be entrepreneur there, or it's just because it's a definite path? So having both things, it will be difficult.
You mean academia and pharma, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. See, I'm so focused and close to the industry, it becomes obvious to refer to the industry every time. But yes, academic in itself is a great platform. Now, when you talk of entrepreneurship in academia, you have to have honestly that flair for developing those kind of institutes which are into training, which are into teaching, honestly, right? And yes, there's a lot of scope to create, I would say, world class institutes for pharma for that reason. And if you have that in you, that can be a niche too.
Yeah. And also another question, do you think that person can merge both academia and also industry at the same time, so filling the position in both like field, because it's too much interesting for people nowadays.
Yes, it is. I will not say no. It would then depend on the extent of involvement required for individual, what roles they take up in both the setups. So, and of course, everyone only has 24 hours at the disposal, right? So it really depends how you plan. How are you planning your teams to work with you? What are your roles? How much individual involvement you are requiring. So definitely you can juggle more than two niches, more than two businesses. Absolutely possible.
And my final question, and sorry for asking a lot of questions.
Absolutely not. Please keep it coming.
Okay, I have a question like when we are building our niches, should we focus on interdisciplinarity? Like, because we know everything that should be now interdisciplinary to gain more like success, to be fully like for the market fully ready. So we don't need to go too much steps, ask for collaborations and such thing. Do you prefer to have interdisciplinary like combination in the start, or you prefer to have collaborations at the end?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So, honestly, jack of all, master of none, I do not believe in that. I believe in jack of all and master of one. So, you can definitely, take it in that stride. And as far as interdisciplinary skills or expertise is concerned, yes, you might have it, and it's a good idea when your venture is small or at a preliminary stage. But if you're looking at huge commercials, probably it might help to have a collaborative effort as well. So it really depends on the kind of business you are into, whether it is good to have multidisciplinary offered under one roof, or would you want to collaborate and keep your niche to yourself. And
Yeah.
this can also keep changing with time. So one time in the entrepreneurship you might feel that no, we are good the way we are, and then other time your thought process may change, and that's absolutely normal.
Yeah, we have also a question from Dr. Nirali. He's asking, or she, sorry, what inspired you to start entrepreneurship?
That's a good one. I think it just so happens so flawlessly for me, honestly. I, I really didn't need a separate inspiration for it. But yes, my passion for writing definitely drove me into it. So it so happened that when I was, working for MNCs, I have had a very strong interest for medical writing as a career. So, and the place that I stay in, and at that point in time, we did not have a lot of remote places. So it so happened that I did not get a great position in medical writing, honestly, to start with. And I think that was the best thing which has ever happened. And because of that, I just started all by myself. So had I gotten into a job or into a position with medical writing, I could have still done it, but maybe a few years back. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was one inspiration, not having enough opportunities.
And also, Dr. Patel is asking, what inspired to achieve such excellence?
I think it is just, I am yet to achieve any excellence, honestly. I would be modest to say that. So, but yes, it inspires to do what you love every day and love what you do, right? So I think end of the day, every day is I'm happy with whatever I deliver out of my desk, and that happens every single day. I think when it would stop happening, probably that's a sign for me to change the niche. But it's important to just keep loving what you do every day. I think that's the most important inspiration someone can get.
Yeah. And also, we have again asking about the training course for writing. What do you advise to start with such courses?
So there is no one stop solution to be offered. Honestly, there are quite a few institutes and private training firms which who offer training courses in medical writing. You will have to hunt them for yourself and figure out what suits you best. Most of them also have a list of content that they are going to cover, and depending on that, you should choose what suits your skills or your understanding.
And our final question now, what would you advise women who want to restart her career?
I think first of all, you should not think of it as restarting. That's where we get stuck most of the time. So yeah, you can have gaps or sabbaticals for various reasons. So and if you still want to say it as a restart, either pick from where you left or just start afresh from wherever you are. So for example, if you're doing something in clinical operations, for example, 2 years back, and then you are now at a stage where you want to go back to the same work if that inspires and interests you. If not, you're looking for something else which interests you, start afresh. Now the problem happens when we compare to say, before I was doing this and now I have to start from scratch. That should not happen. So if you're starting something afresh, just start afresh with the same thoughts and enough enthusiasm that we usually have at a start. That should help.
Yeah. And also in the beginning level, when you are pre-planning for something, and if this pre-plan has not worked totally and it failed, what the next step you would like to take?
Sorry, I didn't get that question. Can you repeat?
In the beginning level, when you had an experience that your pre-planning has failed totally, and what would be the next step that you will take?
I think just restart on something else. You don't have a choice there, right? It has failed, and what you would not want to go back to that. Just restart on something else.
Yeah. Thank you very much for
Don't
your
get stuck. Yeah, don't
yeah.
get stuck. And together, I think it feels wonderful to have a lot of female colleagues out here. And personally, thank you so much, Razan and United Conferences, for having me over.
Thank you for giving us your time and effort, and for those like precious information you shared with us. We wish you all the success in the future, and we hope to have you with us again.
Thank you, Razan. Thanks, Gail.
Thank you very much.